Jason, great to meet you.
And you too. I'm curious about the vinegar right over your head there.
Oh, sorry, that is a Melbourne iconic sign, the vinegar jumping girl. I'm originally Australian. But Jason, I've always had a real soft spot for Scooby Doo because I grew up with it. It was always silly, full of fun and adventure. How do you feel about Scoob?
Oh, I grew up with Scooby Doo. I back in the dark ages when I was a kid, there was no way of recording television, so I had to run down on Saturday morning, plonk myself on the couch and not move for the next 3 hours because it was wall-to-wall cartoons. And Scooby Doo was in there, as was Wacky Racers with Dick Dastardly and Muttley and the gorgeous Penelope Pitstop, who was my first ever crush. So I remember it all so vividly and was raised on them, as were my kids. I think there's generations of kids raised with Scooby Doo. But this is reinvented now so there's a lot of stuff there and Easter eggs for people who've loved it all their life, but also equally it works if you've never seen it before.
Yeah. You play the villain in this, Dick Dastardly, as you said. Now, on IMDb, I was trawling through there and it says Jason Isaacs, trademark. He frequently plays elegant villains. When you started off your career,
that?
Do you know, but I like it.
Shoddy journalism. Sprung that up. I can't believe it.
Well, whoever wrote that, right, when you started your career, did you ever think that you would have a trademark and your trademark would be villains who are elegant?
First of all, I'd question it. I don't think that is a trademark. I think that's some rubbish piece of copy that someone wrote decades ago. But when I first started my career, I didn't think I'd have a job.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd ever get paid to run around, put on funny voices and costumes and makeup and pretend to be other people. I couldn't quite imagine it. I'd studied law before I studied acting, and I thought, well, and then I went to drama school, which is just a way of staying a student, really, and going to theatre festivals. And then I assumed at some point I'd have to get a boring job and get a suit and tie and go off and whatever, sell something to someone, and that never happened. So yeah, I didn't think I'd have. Did I think I'd have a niche in the market? No, I didn't think I would ever be doing it for a living.
How did you stick it out though? Because I'm sure there were times, like in an actor's career is so up and down. There's no, you get a job and you don't know if your next one is there. How do you push through those feelings?
I've no idea. First of all, I've been very lucky. I was in the right place at the right time a few times to make a living early on. I started doing voice work very early on, doing commercials, and so I had an income of some kind.
Yeah.
I've never really struggled financially, thank God, touch wood, so far. There've been long periods of time when I'm out of work, mostly through choice. Sometimes because the things that not through choice, but there've been times when I'm working on something else. I've never really had to show any grit, so I'm not going to pretend that I've had a hard time. I have a hard time emotionally sometimes, but this is the challenge that everyone faces in life. How do you feel grateful for what you've got instead of thinking what you haven't got? So even the times that I've begun to feel sorry for myself because I'm not working or I haven't got the things happening I want, I need to stop and take stock and go, well, there's some woman who continues to get in the same bed as me every night, which is pretty amazing. There's children who still talk to me, and I've got food in the fridge. So what the hell am I complaining about? So yeah, don't ask me about what kind of perseverance it needs to push through anything. I'm a terrible wimp. I've never pushed through anything in my life.
Well, do you know, back to the film for a sec, because I love that Scooby Doo, as silly as it is and stuff, this film is all about friendship. And I love that, when you think about friends, basically you are strangers who were just put in the exact same predicament, and then you sometimes become friends. That magic happens. And I think I love that has happened with you and Tom Felton.
Where are you going with that?
Well, is it strange to you that me included, take such an interest in this friendship that is something personal for you?
I mean, it's odd. Most of my friends are people that I've worked with over the years, and you can't be friendly with everyone. There's loads of nice people, but every now and again, something just clicks. And because of how, Tom was a kid I met. He was a little kid, and he was very sweet to me, and I hope I was kind to him. And so we got on. But I mean, I was an adult, he was a child. But then over the years, the Harry Potter world never stops being this extraordinary place to be in because it's meant so much, continues to mean so much to so many people. So circumstances have put us in the same place at the same time because we're lumped together as father and son, as Draco and Lucius. And so it's been a privilege to know him when he was 12 and 14 and 16 and 18 and 20 and 22 and 26 and 28 in ways that you would normally only a relative of yours would you spend that much time with. And he's just a really lovely man, and he's turned into a lovely man. I can't even say boy anymore. He's in his 30s. And I adore him. And what defines a friend? It's when you make yourself vulnerable to someone else. If you're having a conversation with someone and you know they could have a conversation with the next person they meet, that's not really a friend. And we have opened up to each other over the years. It's odd that other people take comfort or solace from it, but that's all my friends, including Tom, are people with whom I would share things that I won't share on camera, weaknesses and fears. And he's done that with me, and I've done that with him, and I love him. I love him like, I have 2 daughters, but he's the son I never had.
Oh, God, that's lovely. Sorry, I'm fangirling now, but do you know what I love? I love that you guys use your privilege to try and do bring awareness to things and do better in the world.
What's it for? I mean, it's not for signing autographs. If you can't use a mini profile, which can be here and gone in 2 seconds anyway, to try and raise money or commitment or to try and make things a bit better, then what kind of vain sock puppet are you?
Well, I love the conversation you guys had on for the British Red Cross to raise awareness. And Tom, at the end of it, said, during this pandemic, we're redefining how we live our lives. What are you taking away from, what lessons have you learned during this time?
I don't know. I have nothing profound to say. I think it's been an awful time. I'm terrified and yet trying to be hopeful about what we rebuild. It's not what we've learned. I knew I love my family. I know I like watching telly, and I know I'm quite lazy. But I hope that we can be active. I hope that young people take the lead. I hope that we come back to a world that is more racially fair, that is, that has less financial inequality. I hope the justice system. So there's many things I have hopes for, and there's many things I have fears for. And I know this, that it's not people of my age and my generation that are going to make the change. And it's up to young people to take the reins. They've now had a chance to see all the grown-ups and realize how pathetic they are. What a terrible job our leaders have done, how inept they are, and how a suit and tie and Eton education does not qualify you to run things. So I hope that young people step up, take charge, and shake things up.
Yeah, and that we all, I suppose, we're making small changes in our lives. Small positive changes will hopefully have a massive impact on the world.
Well, I spent my entire life on airplanes and in hotels in other countries, and I haven't been doing that, and it's been pretty great for me. But if you ask my teenage daughters what it's been like in lockdown with their dad, I'm not sure they'd have the same picture.
I think that's happening in a lot of families around the world right now. Jason, such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for taking the time, and thank you for entertaining us as well.
It's an entirely selfish pleasure, but I'm glad you get something from it.
Thanks, Jason. Such a joy. Thank you.